Welcome to the Bamgboshe Happy Hour. I am Keju Bamgboshe Roethlisberger, and
Hi, I'm Naomi Bamgboshe.
and this is season 2, episode 4. How are you, Mom? What's up?
Oh, I'm doing wonderfully, sweetie. How are you?
I am doing good. I'm getting over a football weekend. I love football, but it was a pretty exciting and a little disappointing football weekend.
I was just so happy that Mike Tomlin and those guys, Big Ben and so forth. I was so happy they at least made the wild card portion of the playoffs or whatever. I was so happy about that. Look, we knew they weren't going too far. Didn't they meet up with Mahomes and the boys?
Yeah.
Didn't they have a little meeting? Yeah.
They
Well, it was kind of predictable. We kind of knew where that was going, but I was so happy because Big Ben may be leaving, and and so I was happy because he's been so great, through all the years. And then I was happy for Mike, who really has worked with some very challenging personalities throughout the years. So I was just very happy that they made it that far. They didn't get knocked out until now.
You should get a special
so I was happy about that.
Mike Tomlin should get a special award for dealing with Antonio.
Oh my goodness. And I know he's had some training in psychology. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Oh my God.
What did you think about my hubby's favorite team, the Cowboys?
Yeehaw! Yeehaw! Dak is still grinning from ear to ear about that 75 mil. Yeah. And he hasn't calmed down enough to play the game, okay? He's been on celebratory mode too long. See, it's one thing about that. When they get that kind of money, I'm not too sure how much of it they've already earned. I'm not too sure what's going on. Sometimes I think they need a little bit more incentive. When you got a whole lot of money guaranteed to you, I don't know. I think sometimes might get a little bit lazy. I think you do your best performance before you sign those big deals because you're trying to get that big deal.
Oh yeah,
and then when they get it, no, I'm not saying all. I'm being funny. This is tongue in cheek. I think with Dak, Dak. I don't know what happened. I think they've all gone Hollywood. They have Texas, which is big and one of the richest states, the first and second biggest state in the country. Look, I just think they need to settle down and get focused on basics. I think whoever or all the coaches involved with them need to take them back to the ABCs, which first of all is discipline, and learn your ABCs because they was making some very elementary and rudimentary mistakes.
There was a lot of penalties in that game. I think
and I'm getting like Stephen A. They'll always find a way to break your heart. I'm about to jump on the Stephen A. train because there was no reason they shouldn't have won that game.
I think that Dak, I think Dak definitely deserved his money because, he's a good leader. How, if you want to say,
I like Dak a lot. I think he's a decent guy. I think he's
however, we know he didn't play well and the Cowboys didn't play well.
He didn't do his thing. He didn't do his thing. Yeah. And he's only human. Somewhere along the line, he and that number 75 million, you're kind of feeling pretty good. You're feeling like you don't have to worry about a whole lot,
And the last thing for this is that he apologized because he made a little statement with the fans.
About the fans throwing the trash or something.
Yes, the fans were throwing some fans were throwing trash, and Dak was alerted that the fans were throwing trash, and he thought they were throwing it at the players. And he came back and he said, "Oh, that's not right, and we work hard." And then he found out that they were throwing it at the refs, and he was like, "Oh, credit to them." And it
was wrong either way. It was wrong.
Right.
It was the wrong thing. Yeah. They had his apology smattered all over the news. I think he's a decent guy. I don't think he's, an a-hole like some of them just are persistently and consistently that way. But no, I don't think he's that. I think we just, bad choice of words, at the time. And he might have been caught up in a bunch of negative emotions at the point that he made that statement. he wasn't in the best headspace,
I definitely think
hey, you know what? Like they used to tell Charlie Brown every year, when the little redhead girl wouldn't speak to him, he was in love with the little redhead girl. Hey, Charlie Brown, maybe next year. When he didn't make the football team, they used to tell Charlie Brown, hey, Charlie Brown, maybe next year. So for the Cowboys, maybe next year.
Yeah, and I definitely think that, Dak, I think that he is a decent guy. And I think he just said some stuff, like you said, he was just being emotional. So let's get into what we are sipping on today. And we are sipping on, I guess this is not your favorite, but I do know that you like some whiskey ever so often.
Well, now, wait a minute. I just, as a mature woman, I just started having a couple of shots of bourbon every once in a while. And I found out from that bourbon, because I used to say, ew, brown liquor. And then I said to myself, but I've been drinking every other kind of alcohol all along. And then I said to myself, let me taste this. Everybody is saying it's so good. And I taste some bourbon at some point. And the next morning I had a few cocktails. And the next morning I woke up, I felt wonderful. It was really good. So then I became a little more open-minded, about embracing brown liquor, whiskeys. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna take a little toast, and I'm gonna let you lead us into our toast that we always do.
Okay, do you have your cocktail in your hand yet, daughter?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's a River Basin Distillery, and it is co-owned by African American man named Andrew Albert. And so let's give him a shout out as well.
Okay, shout out to Andrew Albert, and shout out to River Basin.
River Basin Distillery.
I can't. You don't have. I don't. You don't have the bottle terms where I can even.
I know. My bad. I'm sorry.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So listen.
I'm nervous.
Long life. No, you're not nervous.
Okay.
Long life. You're a pro. You're not nervous. Long life and prosperity, health, wealth, and happiness.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, that's pretty strong. It's good. It's strong. Okay, so
like I said, you're a pro, daughter.
All right. So we're going to get into our favorite topic, pop culture. But to start it off, we have an update. Novak Djokovic has been deported and will not play in the Australian Open, as the Australian Open is going on right now. So just wanted to give an update. We talked about that in the previous podcast. So is there anything you wanted to add to that, Ma? Or
no, I co-signed on the Australians government stance in this instance. And they want to protect the citizens of their country. And the only way they can do that is to use reliable scientific data. And the data is that people vaccinated and people who test are safer and less contagious than people who do not. So, he made his choice and Australia made theirs.
That is true. And he may not get a chance to play in the French Open this year.
You know what? And so be it, because he's making his free choice.
Yeah, I wish I had I don't have the quote with me right now, the one with that Rafa Nadal made, but we could talk about that.
I co-sign on Rafa Nadal as well.
Yes, I
co-sign on Rafa Nadal as well. He knows it's a team sport, and he knows it's not just his own health at risk. It's a chance that you are perfectly free to make regarding your own health, but you should not subject other people, to whatever airborne contagious disease that you could be vaccinated against, So
I agree.
Hey, go ahead. Djokovic has been nasty and unpopular for years. He started out such a sweetie with a great personality. Yeah. He started out so funny and so charming, and then throughout the years, he had just turned into a total obnoxious a-hole. Okay.
So the next topic, this one is a little gross, Ma. So I think me and you discussed this before about Pastor Michael Todd, who's the pastor.
Oh no! Ew.
The Transformation
Oh.
aired a sermon in which he rubbed mucus and saliva on his brother's face to illustrate a point about God's miracle. So pretty much receiving vision from God might get nasty was his point. Of course, there's about 25,000 people that turn in to watch this sermon every Sunday. And
this
a lot
is
of
something
people,
that's televised.
yes, this is something that's televised. A lot of people were very upset, very angry. The congregation was there live, was turned off by it. He did apologize. However, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts is that that's disgusting, that's unsanitary, and he was being just a total attention seeker, and I think he was making a nonsense point. Well, yes, of course. And there's airborne illnesses, there are mucus, saliva, body fluid borne bacteria and viruses that you can easily spread, in small amounts. Forget about it in amounts big enough to see and smatter on someone. Disgusting, disrespectful, despicable, and guess what? Straight up stupid. Okay. And I don't know what drove him to that, but that's a choice he should have rethought.
Yeah.
He should have thought about that several times before he decided to do it. That was a bad illustration of anything that's supposed to be positive.
I was really upset with this because I think that a lot of times that people nowadays, they do a lot of things to get attention, and
absolutely
any attention is good, well, I guess any attention is good attention according to them, because you get more likes. You have some people who like to watch things like this, some friends.
Well, I never watched them in the first place, and I can tell you this is a total disincentive. Right. I certainly would never tune in after hearing this.
Well, you and me both. So, I can't really say more on that. It was just gross. Let's move on to the next topic. So I know you and I are both a fan of Kendrick Lamar. So I came across this because this was trending the other day, to my surprise, and I thought it was a little bit odd, and it made some people want to use the word cancel for Kendrick Lamar. So Kendrick Lamar teamed up with his longtime collaborator, Dave Free, and the South Park co-creators, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. And this is a film about a young Black man who was interning as a slave reenactor at a living history museum, discovers that his white girlfriend's ancestors once owned his. What do you think of this, Ma? Do you think that we are too quick to judge Kendrick Lamar, or do you think that he really just kind of has no business even going in that lane with this?
Okay, my initial reaction, without really knowing what it looks like, what the full story looks like, just hearing the basic premise of the story, I'm inclined in general, as an African-American woman whose ancestors were captured and enslaved by white people, I am not a proponent of making jokes or satires or anything about slavery in general. And in particular, I would probably find it offensive when the creators are the same people who do South Park. Okay, they're not documentarians. Okay,
also did the Book of Mormons. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes. I think I did see it. I think I got some tickets from somewhere, or I think I went with my daughter to see it. I think I went with my daughter to see the Book of Mormons, which was just no comment. No comment.
It was okay. Okay, I know you don't want to really too much get into the Book of Mormons, but
I'm not going to go into the Book of Mormons, but I'm going to say Kendrick Lamar, I want to withhold comment until I actually see and know what it looks like. But in general, I would say that I definitely am not a person who is a proponent of discussing things that cause such human devastation and was almost genocide to Africans, to my own ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And we continue to struggle in this country against racism and white nationalism. Okay, to this very day, we are fighting to sustain and even expand, but basically to sustain voting rights, because what they're doing, as opposed to expanding voting rights, they are trying to restrict voting rights. And not just trying to, they have done it in most Republican states. And the ones that they haven't done it, they're working on doing it in Republican states. So I say all that to say this. I think Kendrick Lamar needs to be very, very careful and very, very thoughtful about doing something like that.
Well,
I can see a documentary, but you're doing it with people who are known to do comedic, to do satire. Well, I guess political satire and everything, but I think it's too soon, if ever. I mean, maybe somewhere along the line, but I think right now it's way too soon. And Kendrick Lamar, come on. Whatever he's doing, we know he's being swayed by dollars. Okay.
Well, okay. So what I wanted to say about that, just quick, was Kendrick Lamar, just based off his past, he's made good decisions as far as, speaking up politically and then socially and
whatnot. But you don't know who hit him up with a bunch of money.
I got it, Mom. But what I wanted to say about this is it kind of made me think this could be a complete miss. This can be insulting. It can be a complete mess. Or you can have something that's thoughtful, and funny, kind of makes you think, like how Dave Chappelle did. Remember his skit where he was a member of the KKK and he was blind, and that was just so funny.
But that was funny.
It was Dave
Chappelle.
That was
funny. Not just Dave Chappelle. Wait a minute. Who's the victim there? Dave Chappelle was doing it tongue in cheek. Who was the victim there? You know what I mean? There was no victim there. That would be equivalent. That would have been different if the KKK had been the victims. You understand? There's no victim there. There's no victim there. And it's just him, making fun of them. It's just Dave Chappelle making fun of them. It's not where they have been the people whose ancestors have been killed and maligned and everything, so it is different. It's not a fair analogy to me.
It is different. And I guess I didn't think about it that way. I think for me,
that's the whole problem. They're real victims and who continue to be victims. Maybe we're not at chains and shackles and so forth, but there's still disenfranchisement.
Well, we just have to see, because I just remember seeing the Book of Mormons and thinking that some things are funny and then some things made me uncomfortable and were cringe worthy. And I think that was what they were trying to do, though.
Right. The other thing about the Book of Mormons is that they weren't just maligning one particular group. They were also maligning their own, groups and,
that's true. That's true.
So that sheds a different, they were, equal opportunity offenders, as they say.
That's true.
But this is an altogether different thing. This is zeroing in on a group who uniquely has the experience of being enslaved en masse in the United States.
Okay.
Not the only group who has been enslaved, but in such mass numbers and for so long, and disenfranchised for so long, and we're still dealing with disenfranchisement via voting rights.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so let's
That's just
move on.
fine.
No
Right.
worries. So let's move on to something a little bit lighter, which is Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, who are
Oh,
officially
yes.
engaged. They got engaged.
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly.
And Megan Fox was previously married to Brian Austin Green, that everyone knows from 90210, for
Yes.
10 plus years, and they have 3 children.
Good
And
for them.
she started dating Machine Gun
How long were
Kelly
they married? About 10 years or so?
10
You
years.
said?
Yes.
Good for them, because
She
they're
start,
still relatively young. Good for them.
well, she
Yeah.
in particular, she
Yeah.
started dating Machine Gun Kelly in 2020, who has a child from a previous relationship.
Yes, and I can't help but shout out that child is biracial. That child is black. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I
Okay,
hadn't
so
seen
Machine
his
Gun
daughter.
Kelly.
So, I
Yeah.
didn't see his daughter until recently. And yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, she's a cutie. And like I said, if Machine Gun Kelly would get a better hairdo where people could see his face instead of all them crazy spiky mess that he's got going, he's a nice looking guy. He's tall. He's got a handsome face. I mean, he's got all kind of tats and different distractions going on to try to make himself
don't you have tats, Mom?
terrible.
Don't
No,
you have
I
tats?
never, I believed in a whole lot of stuff now. Okay. I believe in all kind of everything. But for me personally, I always thought my skin was so beautiful. I didn't want all those things on my skin. I really, no. I don't want anything. I didn't feel that those tats enhanced my skin at all. My skin already has melanin. I'll accept all the melanin that I receive from the universe with open arms. I love it. I'll go get my tan on and everything like that. That's the kind of thing I like for my skin. I already have beautiful color. And the sun provides me with even more color. That's what I like. I don't like all this ink on my skin and everything disfiguring me. No, I don't care for tats. Not for me. For anybody else, there's some people who tats maybe improve them. Maybe they need tats on their skin. But for me, I have lovely skin. I've been blessed with melanin.
I like tattoos too, for certain people. It just was never really in for me. But okay. All right. Is it I think we're good with Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. I think they are.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. For whoever loves tats, hey, you love them. I like them for you. But for me personally, I'm saying no.
Well, yeah,
I think he's a good looking guy because let's be honest, some people have so many tats you can't even appreciate them because the tats are distracting. You can't even see how they look because they have them on their face and and oh my goodness, you can't see what's going on. He's not that extreme. He's not. No, I've seen people their whole face was covered.
No,
I've seen people with their scalp covered with tats.
Yes, I understand. I just I'm not a fan of face tattoos. I understand people who want to try all types.
I don't like Mike Tyson's facial tat. I don't like that.
I think he probably regrets it. And the thing about getting tattoos, if you don't like the tattoos, it's very difficult to remove them. But I understand why people like that.
People do remove them. But you know what? Let me just say about Machine Gun Kelly, he's a good looking guy. If you can get past all the other, things going on, he's a nice looking guy.
I never even really looked at him because Megan,
I know you didn't because all you could see was all these other things going on.
And then Megan Fox, because she's,
Megan Fox is nice looking. Yeah,
she's known to be the sex symbol. So, well, good luck to them. I think they're hilarious. So, good luck. To them.
Hey, look, she had some happiness somewhere in with Brian Austin Green because they got 3 children. They were together 10 years, and I know some part of that 10 years was good.
Well, they were married
much or whatever.
Together even longer.
Well, whatever. That's even better. So, that relationship was successful for a period of time. And then when they became unhappy, mutually or one or the other or whatever, they decided that they want to pursue happiness with other people, doing other things. And that's wonderful. Okay. That's wonderful.
That's a good segue for the next topic, which is Tiffany Haddish. I love Tiffany Haddish. I wish her all the luck in the world. She was arrested in Georgia on suspicion of driving under the influence.
DUI.
And officers responded at around 2:30 a.m. to a 911 call regarding a driver asleep at the wheel of the roadway.
And Tiffany.
There's just been a lot of talk about Tiffany.
Tiffany, don't hurt yourself, girl. I don't know what's going on now, but when you didn't have too much to drink.
Tiffany put out into the, she announced to everybody that she'd had a lot of loss. That Bob Saget, relatives, her dog. And then she was in a relationship with
maybe that was the icing on the cake. I don't know. But you know what? I'm hearing everything she's saying. And I want to say to her, Tiffany, the more people you have attached to your life, they bring you a lot of joy, but there's also the possibility of loss, and just look at it like, you were fortunate or blessed, or I don't know your spiritual beliefs, but however you look at it, just say you were your life was enhanced by the good times you had with your friend Bob Saget, as a sort of mentor. Your love that you got, your unconditional love from your puppy, from your doggy, and from the lustful love or whatever you had with Common. And guess what? You're fine. You're okay. You have your health and strength. And Common is still here. You can't do anything about Bob, and you can't do anything about your doggy. So you move on, and you're here, and you still have opportunity. If things go well, you have many, many more years to enjoy, find love, find happiness, fulfill lust, and whatever. Tiffany, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Okay? I'm not even going to give that much energy to Common, because you know what, Tiffany? Okay, you ain't no little virgin. Okay. All right.
Oh my.
Okay. Keep it going. Next.
She's not a virgin.
Next. Well, I hope not. She's been married. Okay, Tiffany. Okay, Tiffany. All right. Next. Okay. Yeah. Plenty pipes out there for you to smoke, Tiffany. Keep going.
Oh wow, Mom.
Hey, keep it going, Tiffany. Keep it going, girl.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, after that, I don't really know what else to say, except I hope that Tiffany will be okay. And, we're a fan. So, hope everything, works out well. And positive vibes for Tiffany Haddish.
That's right.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Oh, just PG? Oh,
no, it's not PG.
Oh, okay. You might have to cut it out. I don't know.
It's not. This is radar.
I use euphemisms. My goodness. Go on.
All right. So now we have one of your favorite people.
That's what I got for President Bill Clinton.
Okay. So we got Kanye West. So Kanye West is taking
brother. Did he find that damn party he was looking for?
So he's taken his divorce with Kim K obviously to a whole new level. He's claiming that she purposely was keeping him from seeing his daughter.
Can I say something, daughter? Can I say something before you even finish with this daughter? Listen, one thing I'm going to say. Okay, go ahead with whatever. Throughout all this rigmarole and everything he had going on, Kim was as quiet as a mouse.
Okay, so
I didn't hear nothing from Kim. Did you? Am I wrong?
No,
I didn't hear anything from Kim.
No. Well, so he went live, on whatever message and he was saying that the day of Chicago's 4th birthday, he was saying that Kim and people were refusing to give him the address to Chicago's party. Eventually, he got the address, supposedly
to which he wasn't invited.
So here's the thing. So Tristan Thompson, I take it, did not give him the address, but Travis Scott gave him the address after Kylie, of course, and Kylie let him into the party. So I don't know how it was supposed to go. He showed up at Kim's house. Kim,
he wasn't supposed to be invited, else he would have already known.
Well, he wasn't supposed to go to Kim's house from what everybody is saying, because she wants boundaries and he just can't show up anytime.
But if the party wasn't at Kim's house, what difference did it make?
Well, I don't know if he knew or if he cared or whatever the case was. And I think that was the problem. And I think they were supposed to have 2 different celebrations. I think he was supposed to have her for a certain amount of time, and Kim was supposed to have Chicago.
Right.
part. And I think that
and we know Kanye just got on social media because he wants to keep his family business private.
right.
He wants to conduct things in a very, discreet, personal way. He doesn't want the media in everything he does. He's not looking for attention and whatever. And one thing, I mean, I don't care about any of those people one way or the other, frankly speaking, daughter. However, I must say, I didn't hear, maybe I missed it, but I didn't miss much from Kanye. Okay, although I was trying to avoid it, it was all over everything. I did not hear Kim commenting on any or getting involved in any of it. I didn't hear her say, well, look, Kanye, you just blah, blah, blah. I didn't hear that. I heard her say, I'm out of that. Let him deal with that foolishness.
Well, I think that's how she has handled him.
And that is wonderful, because she's an attention seeker too, but she's an attention seeker about making her money.
Well, yeah, I think that in a situation like this, their show was over, but maybe there'll be a special that, backtracks everything that happened. I don't know. But in all seriousness, I think
Kim didn't see no dollar signs in this situation. Exactly. And she didn't get involved.
Exactly. And I don't blame her.
Yeah, me neither. Good move. Good look. To me, good look for Kim. And Kanye just continuing to look like a dodo bird.
That's how he makes his money.
Continuing to look like a buffoon.
And then him and Pete Davidson and all this other stuff. But we'll leave that. That'll be. I'm sure we'll have some more to talk about.
I know he's going around threatening he's going to kick Pete Davidson's arse. Well, guess what? Like they say, in order to you got to bring ass to kick ass. Okay. He doesn't know Pete Davidson might beat his ass, okay? He don't know that. He don't know that. He got a lot of money. He might figure he'd get some of his people to get the guy, but he doesn't know that he can beat him. He doesn't know. Two people in the ring, baby. 50-50 chance.
Oh, gosh. I can't. Okay, but so the other couple that I wanted to talk about, which is, more of a sad occasion, was Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, who... Well, okay, so that their marriage has ended. They've been together for 16 years and married for 4, and they have 2 children. And I don't know what's going on. It makes me sad, because I don't like to in my mind, I guess it's the fairy tale. I don't like to see beautiful people who've been together for a long time.
What do you mean beautiful people?
Well, they don't have to be beautiful. Okay,
whatever. So they could just have bad situations. No,
right? I don't mean that. I just mean that. I don't know.
Okay, daughter.
Okay, I said the wrong thing.
This is what I want to say. I want to say they've had a long ride. They have 2, lovely children, healthy children, and everything, and they've had a long ride. And if they decided mutually or individually, however they came to the decision that the ride is over, the ride is over. And once again, when you've been together that long, you better know. People look at it the wrong way. People always say, oh, they wasted all the time. What do you mean wasted? They experienced it. They lived it. And they had a wonderful time up until they did not have a wonderful time. And at that point, they decided, let's try to do something else while we're still able to make other choices. Let us do that. There's something else out there for us that we want to experience.
Well, I think
that's just fine.
I think
they have money, they have their health and strength. If they weren't making each other happy any longer, there's no reason that they should have stayed together.
Well, 2 things for me. One thing I think that a lot of people kind of thought was really cool, that was different, was that she is older than him, and so a lot of people thought that was different.
And they stayed together longer than most people who are contemporaries.
Right. And then the other thing is that when people break up, then you start thinking, oh, well, how long were they unhappy? Were they unhappy in year 5? Did they just say, okay, work it out? Were they unhappy in year 10?
Well, that's where you take it. To me, I don't take it that way. I take it that they were happy most of the time. And when they became unhappy, they decided to part. because especially people like that who have the financial wherewithal that they aren't really interdependent in that way financially. They really have more, financial resources and therefore, more opportunities. I really feel when they became.
Good thing that you mentioned that. I just want to say this because I remember Jason Momoa doing an interview and he brought up how when him and Lisa Bonet, this was early on in their relationship, but they had already had a child. He was like, he was pretty broke at that point.
Sure. Yeah, at that point. Now he's not.
Well, do you think that played a part into it? And we don't know what goes on in these relationships.
Listen, wait a minute. Now we can resort to the stereotype because we know we've seen it in any number of relationships when when two people get married and one is doing well and the fortunes reverse themselves, or one is on the come up and they actually achieve a level of success. We've seen that 1,000 times where they just dump the other partner. Yeah. We've seen that many times. But in the case with them, he's been doing well for, he's been doing, pretty well for a minute now to where he was not dependent on her. That didn't just happen last month. He's been, getting paid for a while now,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate with people in their marriage. I respect, how I am. I respect people's
but
marriage.
No matter that she's had two, she's already had two, good looking, sexy, hunky husbands and has had children by both of them. And that's far ahead of the scale. Most people haven't had that much, they haven't had all those sexy husbands and all that,
Okay. So the final topic for pop culture is pet cloning, Ma. So I just kind of want to get your idea.
Oh my goodness, who, sweetie?
Pet cloning. So
well, you gotta tell me about that.
Okay, so pet cloning has become a lot more popular than people realize. Obviously, it's not just like the norm, but they have people who are making lots of money off of it, in particular on social media.
Are you saying pet PET cloning?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But people.
Oh, okay. Pet cloning. I thought you said a person. Pet cloning.
No.
Okay.
No.
I got you. I hear you.
Well, anyway, it's very expensive, first off, and obviously just whatever ethical issues, when things ethical reasons. So it costs between 35 and 50,000 to clone these pets. And it's very similar to IVF, where the eggs and embryos are created in a dish and they're transferred into a surrogate. And so for, some people, it can take 4 or 5 years to actually clone these pets. And people say, well, why would you do that when there's like over, I don't know how much it is.
So many pets that they put to sleep, that they kill. Right. So
why would you be so, or whatever word you want to say? I don't know if you want to say, I can't think of the word right now. But anyway, to make
I would say self-indulgent.
Self-indulgent is good. So, Ma, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on pet cloning? And some people do it. Some people do it to deal with the emotional toll, that they feel as though they can't take it. They've lost their best friend. And so they try and recreate the pet by cloning. And like I said, it costs thousands of dollars to do this. I would also.
Okay. So I would say that that's unhealthy. Mm-hmm. I would say that that's unhealthy for a lot of reasons. I would say that's unhealthy. And I would say that's not even good for the planet, because do these clones reproduce in the same way that, naturally conceived, animals reproduce? Because what's happening in terms of all the animals who are fostered, euthanized, and just everything. What happens to the reproduction of animals who, are strays and for many reasons, or are rendered homeless because of loss of their owners and, the things that happen. So I would say that it's not necessarily the most productive use of money. And I don't say that it's emotionally healthy at all, because if your bond is with the pet that died, the decedent, cloned or not, it's still not the decedent.
Right, right.
So
And
I'm not really sure what that is, except some perversion of what would be a natural, under other circumstances, would be the natural progression of life, the natural progression of evolution, which is birth, life, and death.
the two
You
main
know, so
people who do things like this are people who, like I said, don't want to deal with stress, or find it very difficult to deal with with loss, with grief. And then the other one is just people trying to make money from these clones.
well, yeah,
And
and
that's
also
just
there's
bad.
something very emotionally unhealthy
Mhm.
about that whole thing, and there's also something that shows a certain gullibility,
Mhm.
okay, and vulnerability about those kind of people, and they're just sitting ducks waiting for people to take advantage of
And
them.
they're also rich because, like
Well,
I
yeah,
said, it's not a
right, and
position.
they're rich and mentally and or emotionally unhealthy, so that's not the way to deal with grief, you know. So
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, so I'm in agreement with you. So let's move on to films. So we have
Even though in Swan Song I can appreciate Mahershala,
oh yeah,
although I
that was a
like
little bit different.
Mahershala, that
But
was a bit different.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So films,
okay.
the first film for this episode is Brazen, that lovely Brazen, starring Alyssa Milano and Samuel Page from Desperate Housewives. Now,
Oh, Alyssa,
Alyssa,
oh my goodness.
Alyssa Milano is a mystery writer named Grace Miller, who is known for thriller crime mysteries, and her sister is leading a double life, gets herself into an unfortunate situation, and Alyssa's character, Grace, along with the handsome detectives, work together to solve the crime. So, what are your thoughts on the lovely movie Brazen?
Alyssa, I'm glad to see you. You're staying in the game. You've been consistent since you were a preteen, and you were on Who's the Boss. It's just wonderful to see how you've grown in the business and so forth. But Alyssa, I'm going to say to you, honey, that was not your best work. That picture was so silly. It was difficult for me to watch it.
Yeah.
You didn't even do the most that you could have done with what you were working with. You had a couple of kind of interesting, themes going on there, that, were sexual in nature, and, things that you could have delved in a whole lot more in your own life and in the life of your deceased sister. Okay, well, I don't want to go too far. I know many things that you could have done with that plot that you did not do. It did not live up to the title of Brazen. For something that is named a film entitled Brazen, you're expecting some real a tour de force. You're expecting you to really do your
No,
thing and
I
come
wasn't.
heavy and strong, and you did not. You
I didn't.
you were really, really, really lightweight.
I
You
didn't.
know,
I
you
didn't.
I thought you were much better in that thing. What was it? Desperate Wives or Desperate something?
Mistresses.
Mistresses.
Yeah.
You were much better in Mistresses, as far as I'm concerned. Um, Alyssa, I, mm-mm, mm-mm.
I don't.
I'm looking forward to seeing you do better work in the future.
I don't think I was expect. Okay, so I wasn't expecting a lot from this picture. I was expecting it to be a.
I was expecting more.
Yeah, I was expecting more,
I was totally underwhelmed.
but I
You
was.
know,
I was
the
definitely
I mean, let's
expecting.
just say this, just the whole thing with a dominatrix sister, okay? You would expect a bit more. Okay, all right, daughter. Okay, I'm
I.
not gonna say too
I
much
was.
more.
I was. I was expecting at least an entertaining B movie, and it wasn't entertaining. And yes, Mom mentioned a couple of things that happened in the film. And there was just a lot of cliches and addiction problems and a lot of other little different subplots with it. I just did, it wasn't good. It wasn't good for a dirty movie. Even it didn't even do.
Right,
And
right.
that was the
It
issue.
wasn't a suspenseful kind of thing. You would have thought it would have been a fatal attraction kind of thing at least, or something like that, or Razor's Edge, or something, kind of thing. But it was not. It was not.
So, what do you give Brazen?
Hooch.
What number hooch?
Four on the hooch scale.
I'm gonna, sorry, Melissa, I like Alyssa Milano a lot, but I'm gonna give it a hooch at a 3. It didn't do much.
Oh, whoa. Oh, you liked it even less than I did. No, Alyssa Milano, she's, she looks nice, she's, in pretty good shape and so forth. And she did not do her thing. No, she came up light.
Okay, so the next movie is a little bit different. Is the Tragedy of Macbeth, and it's starring Denzel Washington as Macbeth, Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth, and we have Corey Hawkins as Macduff and Harry Melling, and we also have Brendan Gleeson as the king. And it's the story of Macbeth's quest for power to, become king along with his wife, and the consequences that come, from being too greedy and, just being envious. And it's probably also not a good idea to listen to 3 unfamiliar witches. This is the dark tale.
Those sister witches had a lot of good information to share.
Yeah, they're the information.
And let's face it, that was at a time when people really believed in witches. So it,
I got
it. They believe in the prophecy of witches.
Oh, yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna ask what did you give the Tragedy of Macbeth?
Oh, I'm gonna give Macbeth.
Oh no, you can. Yeah, but what did you think about it?
How much is it to think? Okay, Denzel was. Well, when one of the first prophecies of the sister witches came true about him getting his first little promotion as the Thane or whatever his first promotion was, then he really started. Initially, he wasn't so gung-ho, but then he really, after the first small prophecy came through true, then he really started to believe in it. And then he had that gung-ho wife, Lady Macbeth, and she was, all gung-ho. She wanted to be, the king's wife, and it just went on and on and on.
It drove her mad.
It not only drove her mad, drove her murderously mad, and the same thing with him. And she's, there's this whole long thing I remember from high school about her washing the blood off her hands and out, and all that. And, just a whole big thing, a lot of things with that. But mainly I want to say, Denzel as Macbeth, I thought he was wonderful. I thought he was mesmerizing. I thought his performance overcame the archaic language and everything. You were still able to appreciate everything that was going on. I think, even as a person who was unfamiliar with Macbeth, no, not me, but for those who were, because I did it in school. Okay. So, but anyhow, I thought his performance was wonderful. I just thought he was, I thought it was a tour de force for Denzel. I really did. And it's an old story, a Shakespearean story based on real events, but some deviation, from what really happened, but based on real events. And Macbeth had lost his mind. Macbeth had actually lost his mind. And I don't want to tell too much. I'm assuming people know a whole lot about it, but maybe they don't. I would say it is well worth your watching. I thought it was really, really good.
I think that I thought it was okay. So I thought it was really good as far as the acting. And Denzel is always excellent. Frances McDormand did a really good job, and the other supporting characters did it really well. However, I think the language, obviously Shakespearean, it's difficult to follow. So you have to be in that mindset, that mind frame when you're watching it. So just, I preface that by saying I really enjoyed and would recommend it. You have to be in that mind frame to watch it. But Denzel kills it, and so does Frances McDormand. What do you give the Tragedy of Macbeth?
I give it top shelf. I give it top shelf. I give it 8.5, top shelf.
Okay. I'm similar to you, give it a top shelf. I'm giving it an 8. I think the performances were, like I said, a 10. It's just Shakespeare. Sometimes you love it, and sometimes, it's like, okay, it's a lot.
I would like to share a lot more about it and say a lot more about it, but I don't want to spoil it for, I guess, maybe members of the, very, very young members of the audience who is not familiar with Macbeth, but I think a lot of people know about Macbeth. And I think they will appreciate seeing this depiction of Macbeth by Denzel. I think you'll really appreciate it.
So next movie is The Last Duel, which actually takes place in the 1300s in France, and it's starring Matt Damon and Adam Driver and Jodie Comer, who guys and gals obviously may remember her from Killing Eve. And did I mention, and Ben Affleck. And the script was written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and it is based on a true story. And it's about a knight played by Matt Damon and a squire played by Adam Driver, who's known for his intelligence and his looks. And they start off very friendly, but throughout...
You mean he's known for his intelligence and looks in his real life, or you mean as a character?
Oh, as the character.
Okay.
As a character.
Okay.
My bad.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But throughout the story,
his name is like Legree or something like that in the movie, right? Okay.
But throughout the movie, there's several mishaps, and they grow apart. They become enemies, and everything kind of comes to a head when one of them is accused of rape. Before Maya gets into it, I will just say that I really enjoy this. I love hearing the voice of a woman back then, and also hearing several perspectives of the story. Go ahead, Mom.
Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised as well. It was very good. It was a story of betrayal to a certain extent, because Matt Damon's character, I forget his name, something with a C. I forget his name. But in any event, Matt Damon's character had actually saved the life of Legree. Legree, who, later was accused of raping Matt Damon's wife. Matt Damon had actually saved his life. So there was a certain level of betrayal. I won't talk about all the land and property, because apparently every word I say is apparently, giving away too much to the audience. So but you need to know that it was at one time a friendship very early on. There was a friendship and a bond, and then there was a level of betrayal there. So along the way, this whole story culminates in the accusation of rape, and almost like not a Me Too situation, but a situation where it showed how difficult it was for a woman's voice to be heard. And her voice was actually heard through her husband, who represented her, because she could not even bring a lawsuit, because she was what they called chattel back at that time. She was property of the man, which women were back at that time. So she had no rights and no voice, but she was represented by her husband, who was Matt Damon. And Matt Damon was a fighter. He was a knight. He was loyal. He had a good reputation. And he fought and fought and fought and fought and fought for the right to defend his wife. And it was just wonderful. It was just a wonderful story. A great story. Yeah.
Yeah. And, without saying what the outcome is and, what happened.
Telling the outcome, I will not do, because I understand that would be a spoiler. So the outcome I will not share, but I will tell you now that you would enjoy. You would definitely enjoy it.
And what do you give The Last Duel, Mom?
I'm going to give it an 8.
Top shelf?
Top shelf.
Yeah.
Not the highest top shelf, but top shelf.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Ben Affleck was vicious. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. He was everything. He was terrible. Ben Affleck as the king. He was raucous. He was dishonest. He was carrying on. Oh my goodness.
I thought I give it an 8.5. top shelf. So
Yeah.
I recommend
because we did not mention Ben Affleck, who was, you know, married king. He had about 8 or 10 children. He was having orgies every other night. Oh, he was
I didn't want to mention it because
okay. Well, you want people to know some of the things that's going on, right? He was quite a doozy. He played quite a role. I don't know how much different it is than his real life, but you know, he played quite a role in the movie. It was very, 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 very entertaining.
So let's get into TV. And the first show this week is And Just Like That. And Just Like That is one of the shows that I still haven't gotten, you know, the hang of. Not one of my favorites. I'm gonna try to be as positive as possible with my critique of And Just Like That. You know, the story revolved. This week was about Carrie's memoir and however long it took her to write the memoir, but there was obviously something missing, you know, so she needed to get back out on the dating scene. So that was a part of it as well. And it wasn't really a love connection, but there was a date. And then Charlotte and her husband Harry, they were playing tennis together, and you know they were fighting in public, and just kind of Charlotte being embarrassed about that. And you know later on, you know her friend had a disagreement with her husband in public. So that part was, I guess, like the comedy relief in the show. But a major thing was Miranda and her trying to rekindle her sex life with Steve, and it being really awkward and nothing, you know, coming of that at all. So that was just sad for me to see the way they are doing poor Steve. Steve is really losing his hearing. He has hearing loss in real life, and they incorporated that into the show, which I thought was really cool. The actor's name is David Egenberg. He's also on Chicago Fire. Also, Miranda's relationship with Che, I'm not a fan of, and I guess it's because I don't really like Che's character. I don't really think that Che is funny. I don't see Che being funny. And Miranda was probably my least favorite character. And now it's the same. All right, Ma. What were you?
So I never thought Che was supposed to be funny. I
mean, comedian.
Well, when she did, well, yeah, but just in general, I don't think she's funny. And being a comedian is just a small part of what she does. And I think she has an agenda, and that's about acceptance and equality for
non-binary.
Yeah, okay, non-binary, blah blah blah. Fine. I think she's just fine. I'm good with Che. I like Che. To me, she's good. She's interesting. I think she's fine. And I think she's a good person to introduce Miranda to whatever.
I will just say, and I know you are good with this, Che is they.
Okay, but can I call Che her name?
Yes, Ma.
Well, I only called her Che.
You've been calling Che another pronoun.
But I've been saying her.
It's fine.
I'm just going to say Che.
Hey, perfect.
Okay, Che. I like Che, and I think I've been calling Che, but okay, all right, do it, whatever. Good. No, not whatever. Good. I respect, Che, and I think Che's good. I like Che's character. I like her and Miranda, and I don't know that they're going to have a long-term serious relationship, but she's good as a person to introduce Miranda to the, a lesbian type of relationship. I think that lesbian sex or whatever they're doing, I think that's perfectly good as far as I'm concerned. And that feeble attempt at sex that she had with Steve, I'm like, come on, you've been with this man a long time. You all have a grown child. This is all you know to do with him. This is what you can't do anything more than this.
That's what I don't like about it,
because it was ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense because you
all like the time you've been with him, you didn't do that in the first week or two that you knew him. And 30 years, 20 years down the line, this is all you could do with him.
And her and Steve and Miranda and Steve had a connection they had
a very sexual relationship at the beginning.
And now it just to me.
And you're gonna tell me because the man can't hear, he can't feel and touch?
Well, and
I mean, come on.
And to me,
what's the correlation between his hearing and your sex life?
To me, it's a feeble attempt at just throwing everything against the wall, just trying to be touch on this.
It was a very half-hearted. Yeah, I agree with you. When I saw that, I said to myself, well, Jesus, why did you even put this in the script? You could have just skipped this, them in the kitchen, boom, boom. Oh, bam, bam, bam. What? It was just, and he showed no interest and she showed no interest in anything. I didn't like that part. I didn't like that part at all.
And I don't know. And I don't know. The reason why I don't like Shay's character is
you've seen her in other characters. You've seen her play other characters maybe better. I haven't.
Well, no, it's not anything about that at all. For me, I think it's within the context I don't like, because I just remember other characters that were like LGBTQ plus, that there was more effort put into the character. I just think this seems very insincere and like somebody that I wouldn't want to deal with and I wouldn't find charming. And the way they're trying to make Che's character, like Che is just like everybody will be drawn to their character, drawn to their personality.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess they screwed me too because I like Che. But anyway,
well, maybe
now here's the thing. Okay. All right, well, whatever. But here's the thing I thought was interesting was that I thought it was very interesting that Carrie went on her first date since Big's death. I thought that was good. I thought that part was, interesting. And I knew that would happen sooner than later, just because of the nature of the show, the nature of Carrie's character within the show, and so forth. I knew that would happen soon, and I thought that was good to break the ice, and I thought that was interesting.
I just I'm gonna move on from it. I really just don't care what they do, and they've lost me. It really would take a lot for me to care what they do. So
okay, I got you. I'm not saying it was fabulous or that it was all that super entertaining, but I don't think I disliked it as much as you did. I thought it was okay.
Okay, so on to This Is Us. This Is Us was a much better episode than the one that we talked about in our previous episode. And this one, there was a lot of little things that happened, or a lot of big things that happened. And number one was Deja and her boyfriend. Deja went to go visit her boyfriend at Harvard, and unbeknownst to Randall and Beth, and she lost her virginity. And so that was definitely a big event. Rebecca and Miguel, they went on a road trip with Nick, and Nick is probably one of my least favorite characters, but he was actually really lovable in this episode. I really liked him in here. And he goes to see a woman that he had an experience with, an encounter with many years ago. What is it, 50 years ago? And he didn't really know what her status was. And so that was kind of just like
bold. He took a chance. He was very brave.
Yeah. And finally, Nick, just like the whole turnaround for Nick, just kind of like his whole experience, just kind of like I don't know if you want to say a 180 or 360, just his experience in here. And what was it? Rebecca and Miguel. I liked Rebecca and Miguel in here. I liked their chemistry. I liked that Rebecca was feeling, she felt insecure about with aging, with her diagnosis with Alzheimer's, and feeling that Miguel had gotten the worst version of her, as opposed to the version that her first husband, her deceased husband, got. And I just thought it was kind of cute the way she put it out there into the universe. And I don't know, I like this episode. So go ahead, Mom.
I like the episode as well. I didn't particularly find anything significant about her telling Miguel that she was not the best version of herself because he knew her when she was young. You know, he knew what she was like.
How did he know her?
And also he's much older.
How did he know her when she was young?
Because he was the best friend of her husband's. So he knew her, she knew him, they knew each other older. He was not the best Miguel. He was not Miguel at his peak. So she's not herself at her peak.
But maybe he was better as older. Maybe he was better than he was when he was younger.
I don't think so. And maybe so. Listen, daughter, the door's open to all suggestions and all ideas. Possibly he was, better, 30 years ago, I mean, maybe he's better 30 years older. Most people are not. Most people 30 years older are, not quite as good as they were 30 years younger. But in his case, he's the exception to the rule. He defies time and gravity and just everything, But wonderful, whatever. But they're a cute couple. I do, all jokes aside, I think they're a cute couple. I thought it was really very endearing to have Nick go do something showing some human emotion, because he always just seemed like an annoyance hanging around, really adding nothing to the whole cast.
Yeah.
But this time he was good. He had this, wish and hope and everything that he would, meet up with this woman he had been thinking of over the last 50 years. And so finally, they said, well, come on, we're gonna go. And they went on the road trip and everything. And it was sweet and it was nice. And it was nostalgic and all that. But of course, it didn't turn out the way he had hoped it might.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, but then some wonderful hope at the end, on his way home. He decided he would leave and go back home. And it just a wonderful ray of hope en route to his trip home. And that's all I'm going to say. For those who haven't seen it, it was a surprise, and also
talk about for the show,
such a significant surprise that it actually elevated the whole show. And that just introducing this new character could elevate the whole show.
Yeah, I think you kind of wanted to mention that he went on this whole long voyage to find something, and then he was just living his everyday life and, found, I guess, his love. Just
right.
Very just
and it and just like it actually happens. And so I thought that was I thought that was really great, nice, very nice surprise, and a very good departure from what has been going on the show. And I also thought it was noteworthy and just a sort of personal milestone for Deja, that she has become officially a young lady now.
Well, yeah, I think she was doing a little sneaking around.
Well, yeah, but those are the things that happened, daughter. Remember?
That didn't happen to me.
Remember trips to Connecticut?
What? No.
Yeah, right. Okay.
No,
we won't go too far, but
no, I was a little older than her.
I don't remember the exact dates and times. I try not to get tied up in all that, but I don't know. I wasn't around every moment. You had your freedom to, do what you wanted to do, at a young age.
Goodbye.
So
not that young. Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
Anyways, goodbye. Just real good. Okay, so Power. next show is Power Book 2, and as we've mentioned,
Power is fire.
Power Book 2
is good. Yes. Power is fire. I mean, they have just so much subterfuge going on in Power. Go ahead, daughter. What were you going to say?
So I was going to say that, this episode, there was a lot going on. I guess the theme in general for every episode is that Tariq is always smarter than everyone in the room. He knows more than everyone. He can outsmart everyone. There's
no redemption for Tariq. At the end of all of this stuff, Tariq has got to either get killed or go to jail for life.
Yeah, that's just the thing.
Ain't no redemption for Tariq, because Tariq, Jesus Christ.
And what's so funny to me is that everyone always says, "Oh, he's not like his father. He's better."
No, he's worse than his father.
Right, right. Just a couple little things here I wanted to throw out. Was Zeke, playing the unintelligent athlete who is
talking they have him playing a big dumb jock.
Right. Yeah. He's talking to his biological father, and the man is telling him it's his father, but then he goes back and talks to Monet, Mary J. Blige's character.
So Dante is his father. Dante.
Right. And he just believes Monet, who he should not trust at all.
Dante walks up to Zeke on a basketball court and introduces himself and shows Zeke what do you call it? Tattoos, where he's got a dedication and everything going on, and Zeke,
just doesn't believe it.
Get away from me, man.
Also, Mom, maybe because Dante doesn't look anything like Zeke in real life.
Well, you know how we have all different shades among our African diaspora. We have all different shades and everything. Come on, sometimes we jump back to the grandma, grandpa, or whatever. Come on. Great grand somebody,
right?
We don't go by that. We don't go by that in race. We don't go by that.
We'll go with that. We'll and then
that is true.
No, but they don't look. They don't even have facial features, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
The father, Lorenzo, Monet.
Look, as long as he don't look like the milkman, we okay. Go ahead.
So Lorenzo, Monet's husband, to me, the way he is handling his business, he's bound to go back to jail or cause one of the kids to get killed, or for them to go to jail, because to me, he's not thinking with good sense. He's just wild and has them out in the streets, as opposed to trying to elevate them to a level in which they don't touch anything to where, other people will go to jail. And
you know what? And, in order to do that, he would be needing to make moves to try to become a legitimate business, and he is not.
And Monet wanted to do that.
Monet wants to do that, but Lorenzo wants to rule the roost a different way. Monet is making immediate moves to try to get out of the business. He doesn't have a plan at this time for getting out. He only has a plan to go deeper, become more deeply involved, and to rule and dominate, in the drug industry. He's not ever saying, when I reach this amount of money, that amount of money, we're going to launder it and we're going to try to do this or try to do that. I would imagine that they would, but he has no plan for that. And he's been in jail long enough that he should have a plan for it.
Any little final thoughts on this, because we have to move on to
it's fire. It is fire. Mary's trying to hide a pregnancy and lying to Lorenzo and Dante.
Well, she's not pregnant now. She's trying to hide.
Yeah, trying to hide a pregnancy of how many years ago? However old?
20 years ago.
Oh my goodness! And then she's lying to Lorenzo, who is not having it. He's a total sexist and everything else, and that's not going to work out.
That's a stereotype, I think, right? That's
sure, it's a stereotype, and he feels like he wants to rule the roost, and there's some Cain and Abel stuff going on between Zeke and Cain. I mean, not Zeke.
Cain and
what's the brother? What's the other brother?
What is the brother's name? Cain and Drew.
And Drew, right? Cain and Drew, there's just a total rivalry going there, total resentment, condescension from Drew, and anger and hatred from Cain. I mean, they got a million things going on, mother and daughter at each other. So it's a lot. So guys, just tune in. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's good. So next show is Peacemaker. That is new, that stars John Cena and Daniel Brooks and Jennifer Holland. And this is from the Suicide Squad. And so John Cena is Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, an assassin who believes
he's the funniest assassin I've ever seen.
Yes,
he's the funniest. He is really hysterical.
He believes in achieving peace at any cost, which in Peacemaker's case is usually killing. Although his character in here he's a real a-hole and a jerk, but he's very lovable.
Right.
He's
very lovable. He's very funny, and he kills reluctantly. And he doesn't want to kill.
Well, what I will say is, for those who watch Suicide Squad, to me, they made his character more likable, lighter, and with more of a conscience.
Yeah.
And they changed his father, Agent Smith.
He's terrible.
He wasn't his father in Suicide Squad, or they didn't explicitly say, but now we know that's his father, and he is a white nationalist.
Yes, he's outrageous, and ultra white nationalist, yes.
And we don't really have too much time to get into this, but I will say that it's
John Cena is really good, and really good supporting cast. Really good.
It's raunchy, it's funny. I highly recommend it.
Sexual innuendo, so you have to, be prepared to, hear some of the grossness and so forth. But really good, really funny. Really and good. I might add, John Cena is in pretty good physical shape on top of everything else.
He is.
Yes, he is.
So some of the shows that we have been recommending throughout their season is Queens. And, like I said, Queens to me has always been at a premium level. I think this episode was definitely more of a serious episode involving sexual assault.
Jill's relationship with her father was a big part of it. And she had a, come to Jesus meeting with her father about his non-acceptance of her as a lesbian rapper and so forth, and the fact that he just sort of, refused to accept her, and she struggled a lot with that relationship to gain acceptance.
And and I think that was really important. And then the women coming together to start their own record company, Nasty Records.
Nasty Girls Records,
Nasty Girls, Nasty.
It's Nasty Girls,
And Butter Pecan learning to allow love in her life, and not letting every bad
Butter Pecan, becoming more open with her husband. Yeah. So also, a bit of the Me Too with Remy Ma, right?
Well, that's what I was talking about. The whole thing with sexual assault.
Oh yeah, okay, Well, that was with the Remy Ma, and the record exec, who had assaulted a number of women.
And also had assaulted Little Muffin as well. And Little Muffin, and that's the thing. One good thing that something that happens is that you have many different ways of dealing with sexual assault, where some people hold it in, they repress it, and then they try to tell other women,
to do the same.
Don't deal with it that way. So what it happens to all of us, no, that's not the way.
That's not acceptable. That's right. And then you had others like Remy Ma who it had shut down, so it was that piece of it too. All the way around, it was just very self-destructive. It led to self-destructive behavior, and they needed to get it out and deal with it and have their voices heard. And that was accomplished in this episode. So it was really good. It had some really good things about it. Some really, really very interesting, socially redeeming things about it. So it was really good.
I definitely thought it was one of their better episodes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, the other
time on that, daughter. It was a good episode for sure.
The other show was Boba Fett, and I don't know. I'm kind of like I'm not feeling it like Mandalorian. I'm not, I don't think it's bad, but it just doesn't hit me, move me in the same way. This episode was the destruction of the Tuskens, the Sand People, who Boba Fett obviously felt a strong connection with. And we're going to see, what happens.
Well, Boba Fett, they made him like an honorary Turken or Tusken or Turken or whatever they are. Yeah, they made him kind of like an honorary one, correct? Yeah. And he had been very protective of them, and we thought that they were going to be stable for a while, but lo and behold, they've been attacked and murdered, and their village has been destroyed. And at this point, all we know is Boba Fett is not having it. Boba Fett will be avenging the Turken village that was murdered, that they pillaged and murdered. All of the inhabitants of that village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we'll see what happens moving forward with it. I still recommend it. It just is not, like I said, it's not made.
And I think Boba Fett may have made, I don't know, it's early to tell, but just based on the fact that they didn't kill Boba Fett and didn't really, they attempted to kill Boba Fett, but they didn't. They sent in people, those twins, and they ended up giving Boba Fett a gift, which I was leery about in the beginning, but I think it's a genuine gift. And so you're starting to see Boba Fett just build up his strength, and start to, identify who's going to be an ally and who is his enemy as he, wages this war. He's going to have a number of wars he's going to have to fight, obviously, but the next one is going to be about, avenging the death of the Turkins.
The Tuscans.
Is it Tuscans? Okay. I'm sorry, the Tuscans.
No worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
So we're good with that. And the other
they have lots of different people in this.
Oh my God.
Different people, different languages. So he's got a lot to deal with. Yeah.
So Yeah, the other show that we talked about, and it's not really much to kind of we can just recommend it if you have some things you want to say about it, which is Women of the Movement. It's a 6-part miniseries, and it's the story of Mamie Till Mobley, who was the mother of Emmett Till. And it just is heartbreaking, intense. And I highly recommend it. And like I said, there's 6 episodes, and I think the final 2 episodes are on the 20th. The 20th.
Okay.
So, is there anything that you wanted to say about?
I would like to just briefly. I would like to encourage everyone to watch it. I mean, I think most people know that it's based on true events. And it is historical, and it's very moving, and I think you need to see it. Let's just say the actor playing Emmett Till's mom is doing an excellent job. She's riveting. Glenn Turman.
Adrienne Warren, and she played Tina Turner.
Right. I was saying Mahalia Jackson, but it's Tina Turner. Yeah, thank you, daughter. And Glenn Turman was excellent as I think he was an elder uncle in the family, and he was just moving. And I will tell you now, it is about, if you don't know, I'll just tell you this much about it. Most of it takes place, a lot of it takes place in the Mississippi in the 1950s. Okay. In the early mid 1950s, however you want to view 54, 55, right around in there. And it's based on true events. And all I will say is that at this point, we are awaiting the outcome, the verdict in the trial. Okay. And I think most people understand it's about the murder of a 14-year-old African-American boy, Emmett Till. Okay, for allegedly whistling or saying some words, benign, if you said anything, benign words. And Emmett is from Chicago, and he's visiting relatives in Mississippi. And it was, just watch it, guys. Okay, based on a true story. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, so I highly recommend you watch that. I think we should probably take a toast to lighten up the mood.
All right.
The mood.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to take one more toast.
Okay.
Of the River Basin Distillery.
River Basin Distillery?
Did I say Basin?
The Basin, Basin, whatever.
I'm making up words today. River Basin Distillery. Let's, give toast to that. And you always give the better toast, so.
Okay, well, I give the same toast all the time. And from my African ancestors, long life and prosperity, health, wealth, and happiness. Where's your toast? You already took it? Okay.
Okay. So, the last show is, well, actually, this isn't the last show. This is, well, the second to last show is Yellowjackets, which everyone is talking about. Now, preface it by saying I haven't gotten to the finale. I'm more than halfway done. So this stars Christina Ricci, Melanie Linsky, Juliette Lewis, Tawny Cypress, and their younger counterparts in a story about about a very talented female soccer team from New Jersey, and they're on their way to the national championship, and they are in a plane crash, and they are stuck in the wilderness they're stranded for 19 months. And it goes from, when they were teenagers up until the present time as adults. And so this is Yellowjacks. I don't know, what did you think about Yellowjackets?
You know what, sweetie? I haven't gotten very far with it yet. In fact, I'm gonna, binge it so we can do the finale. Okay. But I can tell you this. At this juncture where it's just really introducing the characters, giving you the backstory on each of the young girls on the soccer team and so forth, and the kind of homes they come from and their places in the hierarchy on the soccer team and so forth, which is very interesting, which is very good. And I was happy to see Juliette Lewis. I hadn't seen her in a while. Maybe other people have, but I hadn't seen her in a while to speak up. But I'm only at the point where they are on the plane, okay, which is at the end of episode 1.
Okay, that's fine.
And that's it. No, I just want to say this. At this point, this early on in the story is very good. It is very interesting. Very, very good, very effective build-up. You got me?
I thought it was different. I like it because I think it's unique. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I'm a little further along than you are at this point. Yeah. But there's a lot of little things that, come into.
There's a lot of foreshadowing, so I'm getting some of the things that's going to happen in the future. You get that,
But I will say that there is violence, and
and some aspects of it are very graphic.
Graphic, yeah. So, but I do recommend it. I highly recommend it, actually. Do you as well, Ma? Or
I do too. I was surprised. I was surprised at how interesting I did find it and how entertaining. Yeah, I do too. I recommend it.
So yeah, guys. So we will come back with the finale for Yellowjackets, and it's on Showtime.
Okay.
Okay. And so our other show, our final show, is a reality show, and we don't have probably a lot of information on it yet because it's
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight.
Okay. Well, Married at First Sight, we've only got 3 couples married. We have 2 left.
We got 3 couples married. First, Lindsay and Mark. And we see Lindsay is a party girl, and Mark is the
party girl, a lively, effervescent, and raunchy. And that's how I see Lindsay.
She's very raunchy, so I don't know.
And her husband, not so much, but seems to be a sweet guy.
He seems to be. He does. Yeah. I don't know.
So we'll see, because they change as the story goes along. We start to see other sides of them, of course. Okay.
Katina and Olajuwon. Now, I like Katina. I wish well for her. I think that this is not probably going to be the best match in the world. Olajuwon seemed very attracted to her. He was looking at her like a piece of meat, but he also was known to cheat, and she's known to be cheated on. So I don't see
right. She presents as kind of sophisticated and reserved, okay? Though she lives and has fun.
Reserved to me.
I'm sorry, what happened, sweetie?
She doesn't seem reserved to me because she
maybe not. Maybe not. In comparison to him, that's how she comes across to me, but maybe not. Yeah. And he seems kind of way more out there. but he's certainly more talkative. Can we at least agree on that point?
Oh, yeah.
He is by far more outgoing. So at least that's the way they've been presented so far. I like them both. I don't know if I like them for each other. And the same thing that can be said for Lindsay and Mark. I like them both. I see things in both of them that I like right now. Don't forget, guys, it's kind of premature to do a really accurate assessment of any of these people. Okay, because they're on their best. This is their wedding day. They're looking good. They're happy, and, all hope is, they have every reason to be hopeful about the future because they haven't seen all the negative aspects of their partner's personality. They haven't seen anything yet. So everything is la, 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 at this juncture. So we don't know what it's going to look like down the road. But right now, we can just give you a cursory assessment of what we think is going on in terms of their matches. And we know Elijah Wan has been anything but sincere.
And Ma, before we go on with the next couples, I wanted to actually give another shout out to one of my my other good friends, Serena. I'm not saying last name. She actually, heard your question about overrepresented Black couples, and she said that when it first started, that they were underrepresented. So this is probably why we're seeing more over representation, if you want to call it that way. I mean, I'm not going to go into whatever else. I'll leave that alone. I'm not going to say anything.
Tell Serena, and to Serena, for me, her point is well taken. Her point is well taken. And I am acutely aware of that, but I think right now we need to have some balance. We need to have a little, and in view of the fact that here's my real issue to everybody. These marriages, quote unquote, are so unsuccessful. I don't want to see that many unsuccessful marriages among minorities. Okay. I don't want to see that. Yeah. Okay. That's the real issue.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
but her point, but Serena, point well taken.
Okay. So next, the next couple, Jasmina and Michael. I think Jasmina, she looks really nice. Michael, he seems fine. I don't see any chemistry between them. Like off the bat, I don't see chemistry. He seems like a sweet guy, and I like another couple that I like you said. But did you see chemistry between them?
No, I saw her not feeling him more than the reverse.
Yeah.
I saw her not really being into him at all. Yeah. I don't know if that's just her personality or whatever, but I didn't see that she was attracted to him at all. I didn't see any initial attraction from her.
I'm in agreement.
I saw that he seemed okay with her, but I did not see the reverse. I didn't see that it was reciprocated at all.
I agree. The other one, who Alyssa and Chris, they haven't gotten married yet. It's just been trending on Twitter and social media in general, was that Alyssa seems like she is high maintenance with all, I think it was 10 dresses that she bought. I don't know if that's true or not. Something to that effect. And she just seemed to be really critical of her wedding dresses. And she did so that they think that is a precursor, a sign to what is to come, foreshadowing with her and Chris. Did you get any bad vibes, or were you just...
I'm not sure. Like you said, we need to just sort of wait and see what's going on. I'm not sure about that because I don't know if that's going to carry on into other aspects of her life, or was she just nervous? Is she picky, or is she indecisive? I mean, they manifest themselves in the same way, but they're really two very different things. So I don't know what's going on with that, and like I said, it's too early for me to really tell, but you may want to, that's something that probably I might keep an eye on, to see if we see it again, because could be, and maybe not. So let's see how that goes. I don't want to even just be jaded and start talking about Merla, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
That's what people are getting the Merla vibe.
Well, I know, I don't want to do that, and I don't want to start thinking that way. I don't want to start thinking that way. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the final couple, is it Noi and Steve? So the issue with them is that Noi seems to want stability, and Steve doesn't have a job. So people are saying, why would the experts,
Okay. Listen, see, it's a politically correct response, and there's a reality response. There's all kind of the experts put them together because they feel that he's highly employable. They feel like even though he doesn't have a job right now, he's not a person with a lengthy history of being unemployed. He does have a significant history of being employed. He's just not employed now.
Well, if you are highly employable and you don't have a job, is that red flags?
Well, they feel that not necessarily.
Okay.
They feel that not necessarily. You see, there's many things. Look, see, how far do you want to do? We can.
No, we don't.
Real deeply into everything, but we'll just go with that. Yeah. Okay. We'll just keep it kind of superficial.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, is there anything else you want to add to that? Because it's time for our last segment.
I do want to say that I hope that they will. I understand. I've watched this from probably the very first show that they've had. And I kind of understand fully about the racial composition of the show from the very beginning. I've watched it. I've seen how they've progressed. No. I think they're good. No. Hear me. I think they're very good. What I do think that they need to look out for is now they need to look out for actually trying to match people based on what they think is going to be successful relationship as opposed to just getting ratings.
Well, so you don't think
and that's I think that I think they've worked on, I think they're still overrepresenting African Americans, because I watched the show from the beginning. Nothing is a surprise to me. I've seen it from the very first. I'm even surprised they're still on the air. If you recall, I said to you, this show was so unsuccessful. I don't know if they're going to stay on. Remember, when it
people like to see chaos, and
sure. But people also watch it because they want to see some level, because people still believe in true love. Some people want to see some people together too. I don't think you think anybody wants to see 5 out of 5 go down the drain?
Of course not.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're doing 0 for 5.
Well, that's what happened.
But what I'm saying is that now, I think, as opposed to trying to overcompensate for the lack of diversity early on, which has been a long time ago. They've been overrepresenting Black people for a long time now, okay? Because I've been watching it from the beginning.
And not just Black people.
Hold on.
Well,
the reason I mentioned Black people is not just because I'm Black. I mentioned
Native American.
Yeah, I mentioned Black people because I know the percentages better. That's the only reason I mentioned Black people, really. Well, they're doing Asian and Hispanic as well, but not proportionate representation, not commensurate to their proportion.
They're not.
And not just ratings and not just foolishness, and
we gotta go.
I'm not sure they
gotta go. We gotta go. The 3 things that made you smile.
The sun, the stars, the moon. Come on.
Okay. For me, Eli Manning wearing Snoop Dogg's Death Row gold chain during the Monday Night Football Manning cast. I thought that was so cool. I love that. Number 2, the first Black NHL player's number was retired Willie O'Ree of former Boston Bruins. He made his debut on January 18th, 1955.
Yeah.
And then finally, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his ex-wife, Danny Garcia, are working together as business partners.
Wonderful.
They are co-partners for the XFL, which is expected to return in 2023. So co-owners.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. That's the way to do it. That is a wonderful way to do it.
So that's all the time that we have for today. Continue to rate us on whatever streaming service you listen to us on. Subscribe to All Things Peju on YouTube. Visit our shop on Etsy at the Bamgboshe Happy Hour, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook on All Things Peju and the Bamgboshe Happy Hour.
Bye, Serena. Bye.
Bye.